Now we're going to take a look at the luncheon the other day by Soup Windblad puts on a luncheon for athletes of yesteryear.
First of all, I want to welcome all of you for coming in today. Last year we set a record of 76 showed up. Today we have 82.
Hi, this is Jerry Borgen, and we're at the Red Wing Country Club, and I'd like to introduce at this time Soup Windblad, who's got a big event going here.
Well, thank you very much, Jerry. We've been doing this since about 1982. When I retired in '82 from Dakota County Technical College, my coach, Lloyd Holm, who was kind of a legend down here, called me up and said, we ought to go down and visit Red Wing. So we came down, we visited Lou Nordley and a couple others in a rest home, and I said, we might make this an annual event. So we started out with about 5, then we had 17, and then we're up to 30. And last year now, we were up to 76 individuals showed up.
Today we might top 100, Soup.
Well, I don't know if we're going to hit 100, but we got a good turnout here. And there's a lot of great athletes and a lot of great sports fans here. We're not all athletes, but really made a contribution to athletics from about 1938 through the early 40s. And there's some other athletes in the 50s and the 60s here too.
Let's just talk for a minute about the class of 40 and 41 that went to the state basketball tournament from Red Wing. And what happened there, Soup?
Well, in 1940, I was a sophomore, and I think I was number 10 man on the team. And at that time, you could only take 10. We had won the Big 9 in basketball, and going in the state tournament, we got the finals, and we got beat by Breckenridge 43-40. And then in 1941, we came back. And we got to the finals again, and this year we got beat by Buell by 2 points. But I'll tell you, they were great years, and we had probably one of the greatest coaches that ever existed in Minnesota, and he's here today, and I hope probably maybe you'll have a little talk with him.
We'll talk to Lloyd, you bet. Okay, this is Lloyd Holm, the coach back in the early 40s, and what I remember about Lloyd, he used to sit on the sidelines and snap his garter belt. Is that right, Lloyd?
I think it was my socks.
Oh, his socks. Okay.
My socks.
Lloyd also not only coached at Red Wing, but went on to Duluth Denfield and a couple other places and went to the state tournament many times after that.
Oh, yeah. Well, to really go down, let's see. We had 2 teams from Red Wing who were runner-ups. Buell and Breckenridge beat us. And then I had a champion at Denfield and then also at St. Louis Park. But that's a long time ago.
Okay, we're back at the country club, and we're talking to Bud Frick, who was on the 1933 high school basketball team, and maybe Bud could tell us a little bit about that team.
Well, we were a small team. I guess the average weight of the fellows were about 135 pounds. We were allowed 8 players, and our team consisted of Ernie Gesslin, Artie Littleblad was our captain, Dick Seaback, Wayne Hallquist, Polly Parrott, myself, and who did I forget?
And who was the coach, Bud?
Ray C. Johnson was our coach.
And you were fairly successful?
Well, we went through to the final and won the final, beat Minneapolis High 16-13, I believe the score was.
16-13, all right. Big scoring game. Who was the big man?
Vernon Scogan was our center. He was probably the heaviest and the tallest of them all, and I think he was about 6 feet tall and weighed 140 pounds probably. Oh yes, we had a good welcoming back to the town here. There was a parade, and I think that we were entertained for luncheon and dinner for every day for about 2 weeks.
There you go. That's great.
So it was a memorable time.
Good. Well, thanks, Bud.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I've got with me now Burnett Dahl, who played on the 1936 Red Wing High School basketball team, and you did something significant too, Brew.
Well, we won the first round, but we didn't do very well after that. But when the 3 games were over, we got the first sportsmanship trophy ever awarded to Red Wing. So we did something worthwhile.
That's good. When you got back to Red Wing, did the folks from Red Wing say, way to go, gang?
Well, that's an unusual story.
Okay.
We went up there by train, and they had the band and the mayor and the whole works.
Okay.
We got beat, and when we came home, there was no one there to meet us, and we had to carry our clothes, our equipment, our basketballs, and the whole thing up to the gym.
Well, we like winners, and we don't care for losers.
Like there were only 8 teams entered from the state, and we were only allowed 8 players.
One class.
And we had 4 fouls was all we were allowed. And after every basket, they had a jump ball.
Yeah, that's right.
And after every free throws, we had a jump ball. Red Wing was the hotbed for basketball for many years, starting back in the 20s.
Probably because we had one of the few YMCA's in the state, maybe.
Right. Joe Saul was behind the whole thing. I joined there when I was 10 years old. That's when Joe taught me how to play basketball.
He taught me how to swim and volleyball and gymnastics and all that stuff too.
Another thing about that sort of thing, even though we got beaten that 36 tournament in 1937 for a 5-man team or an 8-man traveling team, 106 kids turned out to make the team.
Super.
Because we only had football and basketball. There was nothing else, no other sports.
Great. Okay, I'm talking now to Kerwin Engelhart, a classmate of mine back in, how many years ago was that?
47,
Kerwin?
Jerry. 47.
Yeah, class of 47, the greatest class ever.
You're forgetful now at your age, aren't you?
A little senior moment.
Yeah.
But Kerwin was on our basketball team, track team, baseball team, and a super all-around star. And Kerwin went on later to star at the Hamlin University in basketball. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that 47 team, Kerwin?
Well, Jerry, we had Bob Tomaszek was our coach in 47, and Toonie Burkhardt, Cy Bartles, Larry, Dewey Johnson, and we got beat in Rochester in overtime and thus tied for the Big 9 Conference Championship with Rochester and Albert Lee and Red Wing. Wasn't that terrible?
Just terrible.
That was a disaster. When I was a sophomore and senior, we won the national championship, small college championship, and I happened to play with Vern Mickelson and Hal Haskins and Joe Hutton Jr. and Lloyd Thorgard and Jim Fritchie and Dave Hegna. So you can see I was very smart in my selection of schools.
That was good.
I picked who was going to be there.
A good Methodist had to go to Hamlin too, right?
Had to go to Hamlin, right.
Kerwin, tell us a little bit about the legends that we remember, and it was because of, I think it was because of the YMCA. We were one of the few YMCA's in the state.
No question, and you're well aware of that. We used to go down the Y, play basketball, go swimming, go over to Peter's Palace of Sweets, have a malt, come back in the afternoon and repeat the whole procedure. And no question that the Y was where basketball.
I'll be right back, Sheener.
The good players in Red Wing were born and played at the Y.
Who were some of the legends besides this one coming right here?
Well,
Lyman, we want to talk to you.
Yeah. Well, they're Lyman Gary and Soup Windblad, Archie Stark. You go back to the 30, I believe it was 33 when they won the state championship. Then you come up to 39, 40, 41, Soup Windblad, and all those great players. Yep. Red Wing certainly has a history of outstanding basketball players and outstanding community support for basketball, but now it's gone over to the hockey and all sports, I think.
Yeah, we're an all sports team now.
No question about it.
I'm sitting now with Lyman Gary, a legend of the Red Wing High School. And I got a note from Lyman about the Red Wing all-class reunion. He said he wasn't coming to our party, and he found out there was going to be a beer tent, so he's going to be there now. So, Lyman, tell us a little bit about that bad referee up in the state high school.
Well, I got a call from the local Playboy Jerry, and they said, I understand you got a story to tell about the referee from hell. I said, I hadn't thought of that for years. And I said, now, if I give you some quotes, please don't indicate I still think about it. But in truth, you bring it up and I do. what happened real quickly was, as you remember, Jerry, we had a very strong team when I was a senior. We were picked to win the state championship. We won the conference. We got the state tournament. And in the first game of the tournament, we're playing Hutchinson.
This is 1945, right, Lyman?
1945. At any rate, I went out and did my stuff for 3 minutes in the first quarter, and I picked up 3 fouls.
3 fouls in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah, and at this time, 4 fouls and out.
4 fouls and out.
At any rate, I sat out the half then, and I started the second half, and we're still ahead of Hutchinson. And I played less than 3 minutes and got the 4th foul, and I'm out of the game.
So now you are out.
I'm really out. Now, what makes a referee from hell's story go is only twice in this whole career have I ever gone out, and it turns out it's the same referee, and his name is Lynn Plotnick, so that tells you I haven't forgotten everything.
You were actually a clean player, right?
Well, that's right. And he was an instructor at Faribault High School, the other strong team in the Big Nine Conference that year, and he's the one that he must have had eyes in the back of his head, and he got to me. So even now as we're recording this, I want to be sure that nobody thinks that I go to bed at night still remembering this.
The referee from hell.
But once it came up. Well, and let me comment about the beer tent. Jerry, I'm so pleased with this schedule. It's going to be fun, and the work that you and many others have done to make it possible. But it was sort of the cherry on top of the sundae when I saw the beer tent, because
me too, frankly.
Yeah, because we don't want to put the last night shift off at any of the breweries.